Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you guys with the most up-to-date political, economic and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Okay, happy Wednesday everybody. Let's begin with the economy and start this section with Shanghai. Of course, we know that the economy of China's commercial megacity and financial hub was devastated by the 2-month lockdown it suffered earlier this year. According to the city's local statistics bureau data, Shanghai's economy dropped 13.7% in the second quarter, the worst performance among all of China's provincial level regions, 31 in all. And disruptions have lingered on this year too. New official data published this week shows that in the first 8 months of the year, Shanghai's infrastructure investment fell 27.4% versus an 8.3% gain nationwide on the back of state stimulus. In response to this painful slowdown, yesterday, Tuesday, the local government of Shanghai, turning once again to it and Beijing's old playbook, announced a massive building package to stimulate the economy. The Shanghai officials announced 8 infrastructure projects will be built with a total investment of 1.8 trillion RMB. 257 billion US dollars. These projects include a transport hub in Shanghai's Pudong districts, urban railways and housing improvements, offshore wind power projects, and a new park. It is currently not clear over which period this investment will take place under. Analysts point out that much of the decline that Shanghai saw in Q2 was driven by a sharp drop in consumer demand. Of course, we remember following this at the time. Yet this stimulus response is an infrastructure spending project equal to over 40% of 2021's GDP. It appears that Shanghai will be paying for the 257 billion US dollars in projects through the issuance of special bonds on top of their annual quota. We should expect more of this infrastructure spending and its accompanying rise in debt levels in the coming years, as other traditional drivers of not just Shanghai's but the national economy, like housing, slow. For example, financial outlet Yicai writes yesterday that China is likely to launch 10 new railway projects in Q4 of this year alone, quote, part of an infrastructure push aimed to stimulate the economy, end quote, with estimates that railway investment could reach 800 billion RMB this year. Next up, and speaking of housing, local governments across the country continue to dramatically, and some say desperately, ease housing purchase restrictions in order to stabilize local property markets. One big policy reversal intended to stimulate the sales of second-hand homes is that Chinese homebuyers can now sell their properties even if mortgages haven't been paid in full. We are also seeing other major cities follow Zhengzhou's lead in removing hukou or household registration restrictions. In the critical northern port city of Tianjin, about an hour or so from Beijing, residents without hukou can now buy homes as long as they have contributed to their social security funds for at least 6 months. Now, as we look at these local easing attempts, a very interesting dynamic which is beginning to emerge is that some of these local government measures are immediately being pushed back, slapped down, or reversed by Beijing. For example, last week, Shandong's major port city, Qingdao, scrapped all purchase restrictions on second-hand homes on the Thursday. However, by the following day, the Friday, this policy had been reversed due to pressure from the central government. This is evidence of strain between the central government's concern towards managing wider systemic financial risks and fiscal challenges and considerations at the local level. We may well be witnessing a political division or struggle, a tug of war between central and local power like we haven't seen since the 1990s. Next up for the economy, Bloomberg's Hong Kong team writes today that in attempts to fill the gap left by Russian natural gas, Chinese exports of solar panels to Europe have surged this year. According to energy industry consultancy InfoLink Consulting LLC, in the first 7 months of 2022, China shipped PV modules with a combined capacity of 51.5 gigawatts to Europe, 25.9% more than in the entirety of 2021. It looks like China will be a massive beneficiary of Europe's Europe's plan to transition to renewable energies, a transition which has accelerated due to the war in Ukraine. The EU announced a plan in May to more than double its solar capacity by 2025 and install 600 gigawatts by 2030. China supplies over 80% of global PV products, and in the first half of 2022, China output of PV modules rose 74.3% year-on-year to 78.6 gigawatts. Now, on this general theme, let's end this part of the Chinese economy by looking at an update related to US automaker Tesla Inc. On Monday, Tesla finished upgrading production lines at its Shanghai factory and is now going through a period of testing, as the company doubles its annual output of vehicles in China to 1 million vehicles per year, a sign that US billionaire Elon Musk's EV company is bullish on the Chinese economy, or at least Chinese EV consumption going forward. According to public disclosure documents, the upgrade took 9 months to complete. Tesla shipped 484,130 cars from Shanghai in 2021, accounting for about 52% of its global deliveries. Hey everybody, if you're enjoying today's episode of China Update, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you like what I'm trying to do here with China Update and you would like to help me keep this channel sustainable, continue producing videos for you guys every day here on YouTube, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. As always, thank you so much everybody for the ongoing support. Top party mouthpiece, The People's Daily, has launched a new anti-American and general anti-Western series called US Incites Color Revolutions, Endangers World Peace and Stability. Though we do not need to spend too much time on this, many of the themes, of course, we've heard before from state media in recent years, but it is worth looking at some of the language in the first installment of the series from outspoken nationalist and professor at Fudan University in Shanghai, Zhang Weiwei, as it gives us a reminder of the core themes which state media and others within the PRC will push in this latest round of anti-American narratives. We will notice that these pieces are becoming more sophisticated, quoting prominent Western outlets and exploiting critiques within popular Western political discourse or within the asymmetric information environment of the People's Republic of China. The first installment is called Creating Chaos and Unrest, The Myth of American-Style Democracy is Shattered, which seeks to frame 1. That the US and the West generally are the primary causes of current global instability, 2. That China, with, to a lesser degree, Russia, are forces of stability as an alternative global order, 3. That US or Western-style democracy is a sham, which leads on to 4. China can provide an alternative, more democratic model. Again, we read some of this because it is useful to understand the anti-Western and anti-American themes and narratives that are being presented to Chinese elites, as well as to a general domestic audience. Here are some excerpts from this first installment. Quote, The Associated Press has disclosed information proving that the United States intervened in Ukraine's 2004 elections, including funding several political organizations and paying for opposition leaders' visits to the United States. In a phone call with the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Nuland was even more direct about who should be the Prime Minister of Ukraine, according to an audio recording that came to light at the time. On January 6, 2021, a riot on Capitol Hill shocked the world. The New York Times article wrote that the riot was a blow to the image of America as a beacon of democracy. Richard Haas, president of the Council on Foreign Relations, also lamented, "From now on, no one in the world will ever see, respect, fear, or depend on us in the same way again. If there is a date for the post-American era to begin, it will almost certainly be today." The US has been fomenting color revolutions all over the world in order to maximize American interests. The French media have hit the nail on the head when they say that democracy has become a weapon of mass destruction for the United States, which is the essence of American hegemony in the name of democracy. The color revolution, interference in the internal affairs of other countries, the overthrow of other countries' regimes, a serious departure from the basic norms of international relations, and the general trend of historical development will only accelerate the drain on the national credibility of the United States and further collapse its international image. End quote. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.